Okay, what's up, guys? I want to go over how I frame every single one of my trades. Something that's very important is your framework before even entering any technical analysis, any order flow, any whatever. The most important thing that you're looking at is going to be the trade idea, the theory, and everything following or preemptive to the actual trade, right? So I'm going to show you guys how I use my order flow software, kind of what I'm looking for, and not only that, I'm gonna go on TradingView and I'm gonna show you the technical analysis and how I verify and what I'm looking at to kind of confirm it and not need to wait for an IFVG or something of the sort, you know? So we can start this out on the actual order flow software here. And what I'm gonna go over is kind of what are we looking at. So we have a sort of heat map in a way where we can see the aggressive buyers, the aggressive sellers, and this is giving me certain levels, right? Here we can see that we have a lot of buyers. We have a cluster of buyers here. This is something that you can get from a lot of different softwares. This is a way that I was able to integrate it into MotiveWave, which is what I use. Not only that, I have the heat map. This also shows me the delta. It's a delta heat map on my actual chart, on my candles, right? This is the 1 minute chart, and that's what I'm looking at there. I can see if we are in a positive delta and a negative delta and all that type of stuff. I typically have a leg right here that is actually telling me the overall delta of the current trading range, but right now it is off. I have the footprint chart where I'm also looking at the volume, the delta, and delta change. Also able to see each interaction within the market here. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the order flow. When you're looking at these diamonds, that's absorption. The bubbles are also extremely aggressive buyers. So here you can see that we have bubbles, bubbles, we have aggressive sellers, aggressive buyers, aggressive whatever. And then the diamonds are absorption. So it's showing me different areas where there's absorption. Funny enough, most of them are at the bottom. This one in this case is not, and that would be the only one there. Now, when we get into looking at our chart, what are we looking at here? We're looking at pretty much the same thing without a lot of the noise. Now, I do have 3 charts because it is easier for me to look at the higher time frame, kind of analyze it like that, just have the kind of framework of what I'm looking at. And let me actually clear out the drawings and everything. Actually, let me keep them because I do want to show you what I'm using on TradingView. What I'm using on TradingView is essentially the same thing, where I'm looking at the volume. I'm looking at just the simplest data that I can see with the gamma exposure levels, which I need to add to my motive wave. But I do use, what is it, Menthar Q to find these levels. Now, that's the base overview. 3 minutes of overview because this is important to kind of go over my entry triggers and all that type of stuff. What do I look for when I am looking for a trade? More than anything, I'm wanting to understand where are we within a. Let's actually go over this trade here. Well, what I'm looking at here is where are we in a discounted area in price? Like, how can we identify that we're in a discounted area in price? And it's pretty simple to see. We see where are we trading in currently, like what's our current range, and then from there you're looking at the value area low and you want to get an entry below that value area low. In this case, this lines up perfectly with my level, and from there that's a very high conviction trade. Actually, the value area low to this current price would have quite literally bottom ticked. And this tells you, like, you don't really want to find any trade up here, up here, up here. You either want to find a short up here or a long up here. In this case, if we're looking at the this range for shorts, we just wouldn't have caught shorts that were in a price that was, you know, at fair value, you know, so, or that wasn't in fair value. In this case, the longs were a lot more easy for me to understand that they were going to play out. So what I'm doing is I have an idea. First and foremost, we have our context. Our context is, where are we within the market? You know, we're at all-time highs. Context, where you're probably going to want a long. And the second is going to be location. Where is going to be the most, what's the best location to find an entry, and that's going to be below and above valley area high and lows. And the last thing is going to be confirmation, and our confirmation we're going to actually be able to see from our order flow software. Looking at something like absorption, looking at something like a delta flip, looking at something like this lining up with aggressive buyers, which here you can actually see we do have aggressive buyers. Here we have a cluster, and, you know, it's driving price up. It's an actual fair value gap. A lot of people think that fair value gaps have, you know, whatever type of, I don't know exactly what people think, but they don't work like you think that they work. What really works is real imbalances. You can get that from low volume nodes, you can get that from imbalances like this, and or you can get it from, actually that's pretty much the main tool that I use. So yeah, I mean, not only that, you're wanting to line this up with a area that makes sense in the VWAP. You're wanting to be in an extreme point where you're gonna want to reverse. Now this is for my reversal strategy. A lot of you guys want to top and bottom tick whatever. Make sure that it lines up with, or that it makes sense with your gamma exposure levels here. Today the put support 0 DTE did catch the bottom, and as we can see, we are chopping around at most probably a high volatility area or a high volume area. If we, yeah, I mean, we're very close to the point of control. If we go ahead and look at this current range, even just this current range, that is the point of control. So that makes a lot of sense as to why we stopped moving around that much. So we want to be at an extremity point to get the most amount of aggressive movement. If not, we're going to be wanting to trade this kind of chop. Now, if we are looking for something more along the lines of a continuation, it's essentially the same thing, but this is where the order flow is also very important. Here in this case, if we're wanting to long, what we would probably want to long somewhere where there is a level in the order flow like this here. Um, or there's an actual gap like this here. There's an actual gap where there's a lack of sellers, there's a lot of buyers, and enter something like that as a continuation, as a kind of fair value gap concept for UICT traders. Um, yeah, that's kind of the main thing that I do every single day. I'm looking at the context, location, and then my confirmation. Pretty simple stuff. I pair it with AMT, option market theory, and with that, I mean, bro, you're cooking. You're doing pretty much everything that you need to do to have a successful trade. Because if you're understanding, okay, are we in an accumulation phase? Are we in fair value? Are we in an expansionary leg? What are we doing? That's that context. That's that context. And without context, there's a reason why it goes context, location, and confirmation. Without that context, you have nothing. So I hope that you guys got some value from it. Um, yeah, I do have a free community where today and basically every single day I'm going to be streaming Asia session at 7:30 EST. Um, so yeah, I'm getting ready to stream that in about 3 hours. Now, something else that I have is a code for certain prop firms. I really only promote the prop firms that I personally love. One of them being Tenacity. Tenacity is a great firm which a lot of people have gotten payouts from with their first round of kind of funding. Lucid Trading is another amazing firm. Um, Apex Trader Funding. I don't have a code with them, but they are a really good firm. There's a lot of really good firms out there. Most probably I have a code with them, so try Lander, and you know, you'll use my code. So it's pretty much how I frame every single trade with my order flow, and I do want it to make sense, like with my volume profile. Where are we in context? You know, it's just like we're using context with our trading. You know, it's pretty much that. So yeah, guess that's it for me. And I'm gonna be uploading more videos as you guys have more questions. But you guys do need to give me some questions. If you guys want trade recaps, I got you, but those are kind of boring at times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.